This is LFC Transfer Room, and let's look at contracts due to expire in 2022. Right, so to start with, these are the top 10 players whose contracts are due to expire in 2022. Obviously, everyone, Kylian Mbappe at number 1, Andrea Bellotti at number 3. But what I thought I'd do is go through each of them individually, see who's interested in them, and give them an LFC Transfer Room rating out of 10 as to how suitable I think they'd be for Liverpool. Bellotti is an interesting one because he's played for Torino for most of his career, and at 28 years old, this is probably the last big contract of his career. But clubs rumoured to be interested are Arsenal, Juventus, and Barcelona. But playing for a club like Torino, he's got 324 appearances and 148 goals and 43 assists. And when you look at some of his stats, his goal-creating chances are actually quite high in proportion to the rest of the Football League. So he could actually be quite an interesting signing for a club like Liverpool, who might need a little bit more cover for the front three, especially with the African Cup of Nations. With 6 months left on his contract, he could make for an interesting signing for us. The Torino president has come out and said it doesn't look like we're going to be able to renew this contract. Therefore, it may seem like a sensible investment for Liverpool to offer around about 10 million and pick up a player that's, good for a goal 1 in 3. SULE is an interesting player. He's been at Bayern Munich now for a good few years. Clubs are rumoured to be interested in Chelsea and Newcastle because Newcastle are interested in everybody. But Chelsea, with Rudiger and Christensen coming into the last 12 months of their contract, would be looking for some sort of replacements, especially if they lose both of them. So you can understand why they've got an interest in SULE. Big, powerful centre-back. Wouldn't seem to be a suitable option for Liverpool. Next on the list, we've got Rudiger. Now, Rudiger's an interesting one because it's been famed that Klopp's actually quite a fan of Rudiger. And the clubs that are interested in Real Madrid, Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain. I think with talks of contract amount being approximately 400 grand a week, the reason I've given it a Liverpool transfer room rating of 4 is I think that could destabilise our existing pay structure, our team, and everything moving forward from that, because I don't think he's that much of an exceptional talent that players like Virgil van Dijk, Sadio Mane would feel comfortable with someone being on so much more money than them. Having said that, if it's paid as a sort of like a transfer fee at the beginning of the contract and he's on around about 150,000 a week, I feel like they could be more comfortable with that, but that would depend on, let's say, Joe Gomez leaving and us needing additional centre-backs. It doesn't seem like it's a likely transfer for me. Next, we've got BROZOVIC. Playing for Inter Milan currently, is quite a versatile midfielder. Clubs rumoured to be interested in Newcastle, Manchester United and Spurs, with Newcastle seemingly the frontrunner in the media, offering him approximately 100,000 a week. He looks to be, looking at his stats, quite an all-round midfielder, quite good distribution, a little bit more of a athletic Jorginho is probably the best description that I can give him, where he keeps the game ticking over, not known for too many goals, too many assists, as you can see from his stats here, but he plays across all the midfield areas, so he's quite a comfortable and versatile player. It will be someone, if Liverpool went for him and we signed him, that I wouldn't be too disappointed that we got him. He is a good utility player. He will be useful for our squad. He'll be useful for our midfield rotation, but I don't think he's anyone that's going to sort of change how we play football or make a significant impact to what we do. Lorenzo Insigne is an interesting one. Liverpool playing Napoli so many times has created so many problems for us, and with around about a 1 in 4 conversion, he is a very effective left winger. He's very attack minded. He comes in from the left using his right foot, very similar to Mane. I do think if Mane and Salah's contract talks aren't progressed within Liverpool, we could look to sign someone, similar sort of age to Mane, to come in and support that front three. His pace, his directness. He can play second striker. He could play he's quite a utility player From an attacking perspective, as you can see, left wing, second striker and centre forward, he's comfortable across all of them. So should we need to move out one of our front three, he could be a suitable backup for them, giving him an LFC transfer rating of around about 7 out of 10 benefit to Liverpool if we were to go for him on a free transfer basis. Ousmane Dembele is an interesting one. So the clubs interested are Newcastle, Manchester United and Liverpool. We've been rumoured to be interested for quite a while. It's well documented that Klopp tried to sign Dembele from Dortmund for Liverpool before Barcelona came in with a £140 million bid. And he's a classic Liverpool player. Look, he plays right wing, left wing, attacking midfielder and centre forward with stats of around about 1 in 4 from each of the positions. He would be a suitable development player for that Liverpool system. Having said that, it is quite rumoured in the media that he wants to stay at Barcelona. He wants to extend his contract. And I really don't see Barcelona letting a £140 million player leave for free. However, if we were successful, we were to pull this off, you could see people requesting a statue for Michael Edwards if he was able to pull off our hot £140 million signing for free before he left. It would make a good long-term impact for our front three, but I just don't see him doing anything other than extending his contract at Barcelona. But if of the free transfers available, Dembele is someone I would definitely be picking up the phone to in January and saying, are you sure you want to stay with Barcelona? Look what's happening with them on a contractual situation. Are you sure you don't want to come to a more successful club such as Liverpool? The next player on the list is DYBALA, and this is an interesting one because when you go through the media to see who's interested in signing him, it's only really Liverpool that comes up, but it's not any credible Liverpool media. It seems to be we're being linked with him, but also within the same breath, they're saying he's going to extend his contract at Juventus. It seems very much like Liverpool have been used as a tool to get this contract over the line at Juventus. It's rumoured to be all signed, sealed and agreed. It's just not been announced as of yet. So I've given it an LFC transfer rating of 5 out of 10. I don't think he would make that much sense for us as a player. His injury record, if he's looking at 28 years old, he's made approximately 300 appearances throughout his career. He seems to break down quite often. It's not a player that you can necessarily rely on. So it wouldn't look like it would make a sensible addition to our front three. It doesn't look like it would build to the future, looking past the current front three and trying to develop for the future. It just doesn't seem like the right sort of fit for how we play football and how DYBALA has been playing football at Juventus for all these years. Next on the list is Franck Kessie. Now, Franck Kessie is rumoured to be interested. Franck Kessie's interested clubs are rumoured to be Arsenal, Manchester United and Spurs. And I'll be completely honest, this worries me. Franck Kessie, when you look at his stats, is a machine of a midfielder. Never injured, never broken, just always available, and his consistency is second to none. When you look at his distribution, his passing, his goal-creating opportunities, when you have a look at him as a midfielder, he is in the top 20% for pretty much every category. And at 25 years old, he would seem like the most logical successor to Gini Wijnaldum in the Football League. If I was part of the Liverpool transfer team, I would be making every move I could to convince Franck Kessie to move to Liverpool. Now, it is rumoured that he wants to stay at AC Milan. He wants to run his entire career at AC Milan. But I think if a team like Liverpool, especially after a couple of Champions League games ago, we think you could be the solution to our long-term midfield, our Henderson, our Milner, because you're never injured and your work rates, your pressing, and all your stats show that you are a Liverpool player. Maybe that could turn his head. Kessie looks to be the complete midfielder that we would be sort of looking for. He can attack, he can defend, he can do pretty much everything. And I think a midfield of Kessie, Fabinho, and Curtis Jones for the future could be a Premier League dominating midfield. I'm not going to say much on Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba reminds me very much of Milan Baroš. If anyone remembers him, he was a Liverpool striker. never really performed for us, but every time he pulled his shirt for Czech Republic, he was outstanding. He was an amazing striker for Czech Republic in an international scene, but he just couldn't seem to put it together for Liverpool. And the same can be said for Paul Pogba. He's this big international global player, but just can't seem to pull the stats together when it comes to playing for his club. Real Madrid, Juventus, and Paris Saint-Germain are interested. -9 out of 10. I have no interest in Paul Pogba and where he goes. I think he's more a media circus than he is a football player. Finally, we have Kylian Mbappe. Clubs rumoured to be interested in him. The most recent rumours are Real Madrid, Chelsea, and ourselves. Most likely looks like it's going to be Real Madrid. They're the ones that have been putting in most of the legwork. Look at the stats. He plays across the front three. He's outstanding in all the positions. His pace, his power, his pressing. Klopp's been an admirer since he was at Monaco. I think we would move heaven and earth to sign him as a player for our club, but I just don't think he wants to come to the Premier League just yet. He's been famed as saying that he does want to come to the Premier League at some point. He does play as Liverpool when he plays on FIFA. He's a big, supporter of Klopp and how we approach things, but I just don't think Liverpool are able to offer him what Real Madrid are in terms of commercial opportunities, salary, and everything that goes with it. So as much as he would be a 10 out of 10 from an LFC transfer room rating perspective to sign as a player, I just don't see us pulling it over the line. So there we have it. The 10 players whose contracts will expire in 2022. The LFC transfer room ranking of number 1 Mbappe and number 10 Pogba. Where would you rank them in terms of suitable signings for the Liverpool Football Club? What do you think would be the most appropriate player that we could get from the free contract perspective? I think the most realistic one for me would be Kessie, and I think he would make a massive difference to our first choice 11. Who do you think? Put it in the comments below.